Hello, everyone. Megan Rupert here with The Conscious Entrepreneur. I'm very excited to welcome Sofiah Thom today. Sofiah is a goddess coach and sacred movement artist, trainer, and teacher. As a fourth generational spiritual teacher, a graduate of Naropa University in expressive healing arts, as well as a certified yoga teacher and student of temple dance, Sofiah's understanding and passion for the divine feminine is based on a lifetime journey of personal practice. Today, Sofiah is traveling the world as a performer and teacher and online coach, sharing her wisdom with students seeking to connect with their unique purpose in life by recognizing the magnetic goddess within each of us. Welcome, Sofiah.
Hello, thank you for having me, Megan.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. So, just talking about how awesome it is to be able to be a conscious entrepreneur and do things, you just showed me the most beautiful picture of where you are right now. If you could tell everybody where you are coming from today, that would be so great.
Yeah, I'm calling in from my phone on Skype from the most beautiful botanical gardens here in Cape Town, South Africa. Stunning.
Yeah, so beautiful. So, a lot of your philosophy is around living your yes. I would love if you could tell our listeners what that means to you.
Yes. Well, it's really about, I think many of us have heard of, follow your bliss. It's really in that same line of really following what makes your entire being open up and be expansive and say yes. So it's really about following our passions. And, in that, it's important for us to know, to be able to discern what is really in alignment with the highest frequency. And so I call it the frequency of yes. So it's really about learning to listen and discern, to know when you're on your path, when it's in alignment with your highest calling. And you can feel it in your body. And I'm sure, you've all had those experiences where you have absolutely no doubt, and it's like every cell of your body says yes. So this is what I'm offering, and inspiring people to remember and tune into.
And so I would love if you could just dive a little bit deeper into what it is that you do beyond bringing that to the world. How do you facilitate that?
Well, it's been a journey. It's interesting just to kind of reflect on my own growth as an entrepreneur. And I've been creating my work for the last 15 years. And, it is a journey for sure. And I think that's one of the most important things for any budding entrepreneur to understand, is that it is the journey. It's not the destination. And it's really about, listening and following what wants to unfold. And so I've been in very much a transition and shift where, I was really offering teacher trainings. So there were yoga teacher trainings that were really a fusion where I bring my dance and expressive healing arts into the yoga, and offering teacher trainings in my retreat center in Costa Rica. And teaching and performing. I do perform temple dance at at different festivals and events. And I was on tour for 5 months, say about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I was totally living my yes. I was going to all these different events and teaching workshops. And I got home to Costa Rica and I was absolutely exhausted. And I realized, that I was not being efficient with my energy, and that I really needed to shift something huge. And I actually had Shakti Sunfire, who many of you probably know, and Jackie Becker staying with me. They were doing a Hypnotica retreat, and we had this amazing time just coming together, the three of us, and really looking at how to move forward and create our business in a way that was efficient. And it was the first time in me that I really started to reach out to other people and to ask for help. And I ended up going into more of the business of creating online business, and understanding, that it was important to really record what I was creating and to make myself more accessible to, whoever's out there who is interested in working with me. And so in the last year and a half, I've really shifted into recognizing my own value as, as a wisdom keeper and giver. So still working with helping primarily women now, but women to access the wisdom and the creative power and potential inside our bodies, and to recognize our own just capacity to really create the life that we dream of. And so it's really been this amazing shift of me now moving more into doing online coaching, which I call, goddess wisdom coaching. And I'm now looking at creating a school. I'm in the process of actually creating a school, the School of Sacred Living Arts. And it's really to offer women different, online formats, as well as in-person trainings to, like I said, like really access through the body, what it is, their own unique offering. And so it's helping women to find their own voice, and working a lot with women who are teachers and temple keepers, and women who are connected to the somatics and the body movement arts. So it's, there's a lot there. And I'm in an exciting place where I'm really refining and getting clearer and clearer about really my yes and my passion. And now I left Costa Rica for now. We may go back and create the next level high-end retreat. But for now, I'm traveling and really working on creating from the road, and, helping to be a support and an inspirer for women who want to create their own work.
That's amazing. I love that. So, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Well, my parents, they're healers and teachers, and they had always worked for themselves as long as I'd been, I was growing up. And so I was around that. And I even remember, even from when I was little, I used to like find stuff in the house and go around door to door with my friends and like sell door to door. I just always kind of had that mind of like, I can create this and make money. And so I always knew actually that I would have my own business. And I didn't, it wasn't until, I guess it was really in the early 2000s, I was living in San Francisco, and became a body worker, massage therapist, as I was also going to school for expressive healing arts. And so I started my own practice doing massage therapy, and it was amazing to realize, how much money I could make doing it on my own. And it was all about making the connections, really meeting the right people and them coming in and getting sessions and, doing well. And then it moved into teaching, and I would always rent spaces and kind of do the promotion and the marketing myself. So yeah, I think I always just had that feeling that I would rather work for myself and, do it my own way. I never really fit into the box of somebody else's way.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
So, yeah.
So many of the callers on here, and I'm sure the guests as well as the listeners, they all have that same feeling that there is more, and this is really about encouraging people to step into that and think about what is possible. So, when you felt that it's been an evolution over time, but when you got the motivation and the realization of the calling that you had to really go out on your own, how did you know what steps to take first?
Well, I think that a huge step, was when I really moved to Costa Rica and created. Well, in the beginning, it was called Bamboo Yoga Play, but Danyasa Eco Retreat, and that was huge. And because of my experience with, I'd worked at different yoga studios, I'd toured at different places, I'd worked at different establishments for other people, which is part of the journey. It is important to work for other people so that you can see what works and what doesn't work. And, that's really, I didn't go to business school, part of me kind of wishes I had, because it's definitely a piece that I'm missing. I mean, luckily my husband is great with numbers and we make an amazing team. So it was really, coming together with him in Costa Rica. And it began really with just creating a space for me to do my own work. That's how the retreat center even began. And that was back in 2007, 2008. I had my first retreat there. And yeah, I mean, I think that I just kind of knew from being around other retreat centers and studios and teachers, and that's really how it began, and just reaching out to friends, um, and just trial by error, I mean, and putting it out there. And I think a really important thing, as as you begin to in creating, is to collaborate with other people, and then you can really bring your skills together and work together. And it's also important to discern who you work with. Of course, you need to feel that full body yes with somebody, but to come together with people that have different skills so that you can really create something amazing, and not have to do the pieces that maybe you're not skilled at, because we all have our unique gifts. And I think that's an important piece as an entrepreneur, is seeing where we need to bring other people in or outsource certain things that it's going to take us hours to do something, that somebody else could do in 1 hour, because that's their gift. And so that's an important piece that I just kind of learned as I went.
Oh, yeah. So, can you identify a habit or pattern that you needed to change to allow yourself to become successful?
I mean, I think a huge one, was there not being enough scarcity. And I had been living in San Francisco, where I first had my practice and was teaching. And it's a very much a strong collective, unconscious or conscious belief that I definitely was in that field. And really, I'd have to say the last 2 years has been a huge transformation and shift in, really recognizing my own value. And I think that when we are able to recognize our own value and what we have to offer, that we can shift out of that. So I really was able to shift out of the not being enough, and really believing that, when I am following my yes and listening and doing the work that I'm here to do, that the money flows and that the people come. And yeah, and so, just trusting as well. A lot about trust. I mean, it's an everyday. I feel like I've been in school for the last 15 years. I mean, it's like, especially when you have a business and you have employees, and, it has been a serious journey every day, learning so much, just so humbling as well. Just, bowing. Also, being a boss has been tricky. You know, the friendships or relationships with my employees, and I think I had to shift that as well in order to be successful, was really actually creating a different relationship with my employees, because I was kind of a softie. And then things didn't always work out. So that's a real huge, journey as well, I think, when you get to the point of having employees and how to work with them, and honoring and respecting them and all of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So important. So, just to, I guess, dive a little bit deeper on, what you were saying here about opening up to what was possible and, knowing your own worth. There's so many movement artists that are listening. And often we hear in this community that you can't make money as a dancer, as a yogi, as a hooper, even as a healer or a massage therapist. And I don't believe that. And I would assume that you don't either at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And what
Mm-hmm.
has enabled you to to become successful so that you can have the freedom that you have now?
Creativity. I think, really thinking outside of the box, and really, yeah, being creative in how you create something. And I think it's important to have a niche. So to really see, okay, what is my own unique gift, and what is my niche, because people want that. And so it's really about creating that. And doing the teacher trainings has been huge. People really want, they want certificates, or they want to feel like, as students, that they come to you and that they've succeeded on some level, that they've accomplished something. And so it's a really great idea, when you get to the certain level where you have something very, concrete or tangible, that you can create like a 8-week series, or something where somebody has to commit to something, and that they know that they're going to get something at the end of that they can show on paper, that gives them more accreditation. I think that this is a huge piece where people will pay for that, and we can create something that's very valuable. So I think that that's a huge piece that that I've really seen has helped me to become really successful. And, I'm just kind of growing with that as well. I'm actually at a place too, and I think that this, could be interesting, because I'm a dancer first before a yogini. I've danced my entire life. My love is really movement and dance therapy, and yoga is an incredible portal, I feel like into the dance. A lot of people are afraid to dance, and so it's been incredible to really create, using the yoga and the asana and the form and the structure to help people feel more comfortable, and then to get into more expressive movement from there. And I went down the Yoga Alliance road the last few years, offering the 200-hour yoga teacher trainings. And part of me was kind of holding on to that because it was safe, and I know that people will pay for that. But now I'm actually at a place where I'm like, I'm not fully 100% passionate about that. Like, I want to bring my full offerings through in my own format, and not have to abide by this yoga alliance that really doesn't mean that much. I mean, studios don't even really ask for your certificate. And even if you have a 200-hour certificate, many teachers coming out of these programs are not ready to teach. They're not embodied. They're not ready. And so, I'm more interested in really creating more advanced trainings, and my own school, the School of Sacred Living Arts, and creating my own levels and certification programs. And so I just want to, inspire all of you to realize that, we can create our own things, and that people want that now. I feel like it's time. I studied dance therapy back when nobody really knew what it was. I mean, I graduated in 2000. And I remember, I would tell people what I was studying, and they were like, what is that? And, I didn't even know about dance therapy. Like, I knew I wanted to be a healer, and I knew I loved to dance, and I kind of knew that dance therapy existed, but I didn't even know what it was. And I just looked it up, and I found Naropa. And, I just started crying. I knew that was my calling. And it was amazing, because here we are, 17 years later from when I found that. And, in that moment, I was like, okay, in 20 years, like, it's going to be so much more known about, and, more accessible. And it really is. And, with the ecstatic dance movement and hooping and all the different fusion movement arts, like, I really feel like there is so much opportunity for us as movement practitioners and healers to really access our own creative power and to offer that. And for me as well, like, I was teaching the Danyasa inspired yoga, and then I realized, I don't want to, like, police people and make sure that they're teaching exactly what I taught, and that it's it's up to par with what Danyasa is. And I realized that my calling is to teach teachers to find their own way of of teaching, to find their own authentic voice and way of bringing it forth. And so that is really, my mission. And I think there's just so much room there for us to get creative and to see where there's a niche and what people are wanting and needing. And also with the online work now too, I mean, there's just there's so many ways that we can create offerings, we can create videos, we can create things, and sell them for very cheap. But if you're getting them out there, people will buy them, and you create that passive income. So there's a lot of creative ways, and I think that it's important to reach out and to get a coach and a mentor, because that for me in the past year and a half has totally taken my business like beyond what I could even have imagined actually 2 years ago. And so I think really having mentors, coaches, reaching out to our friends, getting on these summits, just growing ourselves and learning, and looking at the ways that social media is helping us to to get our message out there, because it's really about getting an inspiring message out there, and people are hungry for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate your perspective. So, what has been one of the most effective strategies that you've used to build your business?
I would say, I mean, really, the social media aspect. And, when I started shifting my 200-hour yoga teacher training into two 100-hour immersion and 100-hour teacher training. And the first time I did it, I only had 13 people, which had completely gone down, because when I had 200 hours, like, people want that. They want that satisfaction of like, okay, I can go and I can get my 200-hour in one go, and then I can go teach. And I just got a very strong message that I needed to shift it. And, I had to trust in that, even though my numbers went down. But that's when I also was working with my coach and really refining my message and being more active in social media and Instagram and Facebook, and just sharing inspiring quotes and messages from how I live my life. And from March to September, my training completely doubled and like filled up and sold out. And it was amazing. It was through mostly Instagram and word of mouth and connection. And so I've just really been blown away by the power of social media. And, I've now doing contests and different, challenges to get people engaged. It's really about engaging your followers, engaging the people that are inspired by you, because it's also people want to have contact with you and feel you as a person and connect. And, it's just been incredible to witness that. So I think that that's been one of the hugest ways, just to see it grow, and that you can be anywhere in the world and stay connected. We're very lucky to have that in this world.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I do appreciate how, you share so authentically on your Instagram page. So if anybody is wanting to use that sort of, a way to reach your audience, definitely check out Sofiah's Instagram. It's so, for anybody who doesn't know you, it's like we know you because you really share so openly, and it's created such a huge, I mean, you have such a huge audience on there, which is, it's inspiring to see that you really can have such a huge difference just by being open, engaging, and sharing. So what was yeah, absolutely. So what was one of your biggest failures or challenges that you've experienced that really opened you up to a huge win as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, well, I've actually had a neck injury for now, gosh, almost, 10 years now. And I was injured by a massage therapist, and it's been quite a journey. And it's been an unfolding. I had to stop doing body work, and it really taught me to contain my Shakti, to contain my energy, to learn to be in my body in a different way. And I mean, it's been incredible for healing myself, having more body awareness. I really got into more of the alignment in Anusara and bringing that into my yoga practice and into my dance. And so that was huge. And, I thought I was pretty much stabilized. And then I was sharing, about the 5 months on tour, and I got home. The night that I got home, my neck went out in bed doing nothing. And, I knew that it was, I really look at the body as, it's an expression of my spirit and, of divine messages coming through. And so I look at everything as messages. And I was forced to be still. And, being still is really an aspect of the masculine quality, stillness and penetration and focus. And that's something that I really needed in order to shift my business and shift my energy and efficiency. And that is when I was sharing when Shakti and Jackie were there, and I realized that I needed to create my online business and not be so reliant on my body. And that I was tired. I felt like I was still kind of hustling. And I worked so hard, and I was just like, this just doesn't match. This is not my frequency of yes. And, that's really when I started to shift, and I started to meditate and write. And, every day. And that's really when I shifted, and I created the whole self-love 2014 hashtag that I was doing last year on Instagram. And really taking the time to fill ourselves up. And so from that experience, that's actually when I kind of downloaded that I needed to shift the 200-hour teacher training and create an online telecourse to support, my students. And so it was during that time of absolute, like not being able to move, that I actually was able to receive all of this guidance in how I was supposed to shift my business. And what's interesting is that, so for that was like a year and a half ago now. And then I had no idea in January. In January for my husband's birthday, we had the weekend, and we really had this visioning session. Like, okay, what are we doing? What are we creating? Because we also really want to bring in a baby into this world. And so, really looking at the big picture. And in that moment, he realized that he wanted to leave Costa Rica, that he's been there 24 years and he really needed to spread his wings, and that it was not his yes to be administrating the retreat center and the business anymore. And he needed to shift. And in that moment, I knew that I had to say yes, and that, I had to say yes to him and our relationship and what we're creating. And so that was just in January. And we basically put our business on sale, and it's now April, and yeah, we're under contract. We're selling our place where we put our stuff in storage. We brought people on to run everything, and now we're creating from the road. And so it's just amazing, and that's such a huge lesson in just surrendering and trusting. And it's like you can have a plan, but then you also need to be able to really see what is divinely unfolding. And so it's been an incredible just to witness it and to realize, wow, yeah, I was like building my online business, not even knowing that I was going to actually be leaving my, my retreat center, and be on the road. So yeah, it's been incredible. And I feel like it all came from that incredibly huge challenge with my body. But, I really believe that everything has its blessings in disguise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, if you could gift a budding entrepreneur with any gift, what would that be?
Well, self-love, definitely. I think that just a couple of tips, because it can be very overwhelming to work for ourselves. And there's always a list. So, you're going to die with a long list, and that's okay. So you can't get everything done. It's really about prioritizing and being organized. And, I think that scheduling our time, our days is very important, because otherwise we can get caught up in just working all day long because it's something that we're passionate about. And yet we have to be able to nurture our own spirits and our own movement practice and our own relationships, in order to be successful on every level. And so really, looking at how to balance and really look at your whole week, and how can you kind of give different amounts of time to different parts of your life. And I would say too that whatever your project is that you're working on, just to really put some energy into it every day, even if it's just half an hour of brainstorming, so that you can feel like you're moving forward and that you're putting attention and energy into that project.
So true, so true. So, if you look back, did you ever think that having the life that you have today was possible?
At certain times in my life, absolutely not. um, but I think, yeah, I think that I kind of held that dream. I've always been a big dreamer, and I think that it's important to have a strong imagination and dreams, and to believe that anything's possible. And so, I think that I definitely had that aspect within me that knew that I could create magic and have this life. And as I said, there were times in my life where that was so far off from what I was feeling. So it is about believing. It's about holding that dream and vision and believing, and then being in the journey. Because I say, it's interesting because I'm quite a visionary, and I'm sure many people on this call are visionaries too. As entrepreneurs, I think we have to be visionaries. And so as a visionary, sometimes it can be kind of a curse, because like you can actually see already what you are going to be creating, and yet you don't know the road there, and you don't know the timing. And so it can be very challenging and hard to be where you are, but know you want to get there and not know how. And so it's a lot about surrender and letting go and allowing the journey to unfold, and to be gentle with yourself in the process.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, what does living the dream mean to you?
Living the dream is really about living your yes, and being in a place where you say yes to your life, and you can be in a place of positivity and of believing and dreaming, and surround yourself with positive people, and things that inspire you. I really believe that the highest form of living is inspiration. So I think to inspire others and be inspired, and this is the dream, to co-create and to inspire one another.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, this has been such a yummy conversation. Thank you so much, Sophia.
Thank you. I love it. I love the questions, because it brings all of this stuff to the surface. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
So I know that for all of our listeners out there, you do have an offering, a free offering for them. If you wouldn't mind just telling people what that is, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I created this movement journey. So it's me guiding you on a video, and it's a sacred movement arts journey to awaken courage. So it's specifically to help you to really connect to your courage and power in your body. So this can be an amazing, practice to do when you need that extra boost, when you're feeling, if you have any fear or self-doubt. It's like just getting back in touch with the innate power in your body. So yeah, I'd love to hear how that is for everyone. It's kind of a new creation of this like guided movement journey, so I definitely intend to do more.
Oh,
So
that's so,
enjoy.
yeah. Sophia, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you, Megan. Thanks for bringing us all together and inspiring budding entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Oh, it's my pleasure and my honor. Well, I will let you get back to the botanical gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to all of our listeners out there, thank you so much for being here. And you can find access to that wonderful gift that Sofiah has to offer on the same page that you got this audio today. So to all of you, thank you so much for being here. And Sofiah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Megan.
Yes, and safe travels. All right,
Thank
everybody,
you.
have a beautiful day.
Ciao. Ciao.